Good afternoon, Houston's dancing psychiatrist, Dr. Barry Gritz here. Wanted to come back and talk with you all about something I'd spoken about earlier. I was talking about cheese, and I was really making cheese seem like it actually shouldn't be eaten at all. And I want to revisit with that with y'all. Done a little bit more, had a little bit more time to think about that, and wanted to give you all a more balanced view on that. First of all, I want to tell you where I'm coming from. I come from somebody who, I'm 63 at age 40, changed my diet, went predominantly plant-based, and have experienced a lot of health benefits with that. I am not trying to push that on anybody else. I'm trying to indicate when eating predominantly plant-based has a lot of data supportive it, but certainly I want you to do what you're going to do, and I want you to go into every situation weighing out the risk-benefit ratios. I also want you to just be happy and find joy in your life and balance in your life. And I eat predominantly plant-based, but not exclusively. So I just want to have that balance for y'all. I wanted to revisit the cheese situation. I think I said some things earlier that I want to qualify a little bit. Okay, let's do that. First off, cheese. Let's talk about the fact that cheese isn't always bad. There are advantages to cheese. Cheese does bring some high fat and high protein. Everybody thinks that fat is bad, but fat can be very useful. That can be very useful from a standpoint of cell membranes and other cellular functions. There's increasing data that diets that are high in fat may not necessarily be bad. We're talking about ketogenic diets that are showing benefits from a medical and psychiatric standpoint. Now, I tend to lean more towards a predominantly vegetarian ketogenic diet, but still, there is good data on that. That being said, I read a recent review article in a magazine. It was a magazine in a journal that was a Men's Health and Fitness journal, and it was talking about the person made the analogy of eating cheese on a sandwich, especially warm cheese, as like eating a hug. And I think there is something that, dating back to childhood, grilled cheese, growing up in New York, eating pizza, just an incredibly delicious experience that I still love. I try to eat it as a small amount of my diet, but still, it's something that I want you to be able to enjoy if you can tolerate it. What do I mean by tolerate? By tolerate, I mean, are you lactose intolerant? Let's go into the whole concept of lactose intolerance. Really, the whole concept is that we were designed as humans to really lose the enzyme called lactase. And lactase is the enzyme that breaks down lactose, which is in a lot of milk and cheese products. And we're meant to lose that as we grow up. And then the whole concept behind that is that as we're not nursing anymore, we don't need that enzyme. Now, certain societies, because they had to develop the ability to tolerate milk, were able to develop excess ability to continue to have lactose products. But really, most of us weren't designed. So lactose intolerance refers to the fact that most societies do lose the ability to digest lactose products very well soon after early childhood. And these instances, about 65 to 70% of the population in the world is lactose intolerant or has difficulty with lactose. And that varies. In Southeast Asia, 90 to 100%. In East Asia, 90 to 100%. In West Africa, 70 to 95%. Middle East, about 70 to 80%. South America, 50 to 80%. The U.S. in general, it's about 36%. And 2 to 15% in Northern Europe. Once again, those are the societies that had to learn and subsist on a higher dairy diet. So they had to develop adaptive strategies to be able to handle lactose, and the body did. The body's a pretty amazing machine. That being said, we're going to be talking about some cheeses, because once again, cheeses do offer some advantages. High protein, a moderate protein and high fat, and low carbs. So let's talk about what are some low lactose cheeses you could have. Think about cheeses like Parmesan. Think about Swiss. Think about cheddar, Munster, Brie, Camembert. Also, you want to look at possible dairy products that have live cultures. And the whole idea behind live cultures is live cultures mean they have bacteria, which is live bacteria that help digest those products. And that's why they may be more advantageous for you. You're going to hear me talk a lot about probiotics and helping get that healthy balance of healthy bacteria to unhealthy bacteria. So, what are some of the products that we talked about there? There we're talking about the Greek and Scandinavian yogurts, Icelandic yogurts, kefir, Kefir. You, those of y'all out there are going to be happy to hear that butter is a very low lactose product. Now, of course, I do want you to have only mild to moderate amounts of that. Ghee, clarified butter, has almost no lactose. So these are just things to think about. So really want to kind of retract a little bit on, while I do want cheese not to be a predominance in your diet, you do want that warm hug in your body every once in a while. And like I said, being in New York and loving my pizza, and ex-New Yorker, very happy to be in Houston. That's why I'm Houston's dancing psychiatrist. But I still do like my pizza every once in a while. What you do want to do is avoid the ultra processed cheeses. Hey, I'm the first. I've been living in Texas a long time. uh, Nachos with that processed cheese on top, and jalapenos because I like spicy food. It's absolutely delicious. But you want to make that a minimum because that is, it has much less of the good quality fat and protein, and is really more ultra processed and just doesn't have any of the probiotics either. Plus, they add other ingredients to it that aren't good for you. So, really want to avoid that. And I do want to talk about something I addressed earlier, which is the osteoporosis. Let me tell you where I was coming from, and let me backtrack. There is data that was suggesting that in Scandinavian and U.S. populations, which are two of the societies with a higher intake of dairy, that there was a higher incidence of osteoporosis in those societies. However, doing more research, it was pointed out in doing more research, and I want to bring that to y'all. That's only one factor. You've got to figure in other factors in that. What are those other factors? The other factors that we have to think about are, we have to think about the issue of different genetics in people in US and Scandinavia versus other parts of the world. Vitamin D intake in people in that part, sunlight exposure, other genetics, also dietary influences, exercise, sedentary activity, all those come into play. So, what I want to leave here today is cheese is not something that you should never have unless you are truly lactose intolerant and you get lactose intolerant symptoms, the abdominal bloating, gas, diarrhea, etc., that a lot of people do get with lactose products. If you can tolerate it, then I say a little bit can go a long way. It can be part of your balanced life. Once again, everything I'm going to say is about health and balance and discipline in your life, and finding that balance, finding that joy. When you have joy, you can spread joy to others, and joy is very few ways that are more joyful than food. I had an ex-girlfriend one time who once said to me, "I wish you looked at me the way you look at the menu." And the concept is that I do like to eat. Now, luckily, I do love to eat healthy, predominantly vegetarian, but spicy, savory food. But I do like to eat. So, for that young lady out there, yes, I do enjoy looking at a menu. I am a little boy. When you give me a menu, I'm still a little boy when you give me a menu. But that being said, hopefully I've clarified that the osteoporosis issue is one thing. I do think, though, that the data does support more of a Mediterranean diet in general as far as reducing inflammation and the way we improve our microbiome, i.e., and get more healthy bacteria than unhealthy bacteria. Here's something I'm going to say a lot. 70 to 80% of our immune system is located in our gut. When you have a healthy microbiome, healthy ratio of healthy bacteria to unhealthy bacteria, those healthy bacteria actually produce anti-inflammatory cytokines, cytokines, or anti-inflammatory chemicals, compared to the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which is more an inflammatory cytokine-producing diet. So I make the analogy, and now of course we've got to be able to afford this, but if you put 87 octane in your car and 92 octane in your car's going to run different. I want you to think about your body as a machine that deserves the best gas you can put in. And the best gas you can put in it is a healthy, balanced diet, high in vegetables and legumes, add some animal protein, and we'll talk more about balance of animal protein to vegetarian components. But that being said, I'm gone over 10 minutes. I'm trying to make these shorter. With that, I'm going to say goodbye to y'all for today. 2.5 hours, actually 2 hours now, I'm going to teach my land Zumba class here in West Houston. And I want to wish y'all a healthy rest of your Friday. And I will try to post something tomorrow. I'm going to try to stay in connection with you. What I ask is please watch the channel, subscribe to the channel, tell people about the educational nature of the Houston's Dancing Psychiatrist, and let's spread love, kindness, joy, and knowledge together. With that in mind, I'm going to salsa on out of here. Take care. Bye, guys.